Hello everybody, you're very welcome to this talk on Gasta sessions. So as I'm sure you know by now, Gasta sessions are lightning talks or very quick talks about a particular topic. I wouldn't claim to be an expert in this, but I've certainly done a couple of them. So my view is this: sometimes I've seen people give them and there's no substance to what they're saying, whereas other people give a great talk. And I think, for me, I think the secret is to know what your topic is about. It doesn't matter about the slides or anything else, just have a clear message. So have an idea of what you want to say and make sure that that message is communicated effectively. I also think as well what helps communicate that message is to figure out how long you have to speak. So if you've got 2 minutes to speak, say something in the first minute and say something in the second minute that conveys the message you're trying to get across. So sometimes what I think is, if I speak for the first minute about maybe the methodology I used, and the second minute about the results I got, or maybe the first minute explaining in general the approach I took, and the second minute explaining in more detail the approach. But definitely because you have 2 minutes, which is quick, it means you have to get your message home quickly and have a very clear idea of what you want to say. I wouldn't mind giving you a quick example talk. This is a talk I gave at EdTech 2015. It was actually a 5-minute one, so I've cut it down just to show you 1 minute and then the second minute. So here's what we could do in 1 minute, for example. So here's our cover slide: the use of behavioural economics to encourage first-year completion and retention. And we can do silly things with PowerPoint if we want. Let's not go crazy. So what is behavioural economics? Okay, so behavioural economics is, what small changes can I make to help people make choices that I would prefer them to make? So let's see the usual example they give. Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam had a problem, and the problem was located in the men's restrooms. And the problem in the men's restrooms was that the men's aim was a bit off and they were using the urinals. Because it was Amsterdam, we imagine it was something to do with the Scooby snacks they were probably eating, but the aim seemed to waver an awful lot. So, and this was costing a lot in terms of cleaning. So what Schiphol Airport did was, they got a 10-cent sticker of a fly and stuck it on the back of the urinal, and that gave people something to aim for. So that reduced the amount of spillage by 80%, and indeed it reduced the cleaning costs by 8% for the whole airport, which is a phenomenally big savings. The Department of Expenditure and Public Reform has a paper on behavioural economics from last year that's really, really interesting and effective. And there was a book called Nudge by Taylor and Sunstein that's very good on behavioural economics. I'll just give you one more example. When I go to my pass machine and get out cash and get a receipt, in the olden days it used to say, do you wish to print a receipt, yes or no? Now what it says is, in the interest environment, we prefer you not to print a receipt. So do you want to continue or print the receipt? Which is the same as yes or no. That has reduced printing by 80% again, so we see that 80% number a lot. Alright, so that's the first half of the talk. So that's just setting the scene in terms of what technique we're using. Because behavioural economics is a relatively new approach in education, I need to spend a little more time. I need to spend a whole minute or maybe a minute and a half on that. Whereas if it's a well-known technique, if I'm using peer learning or reflective practice, you won't necessarily need to explain that to your audience. Then it's perfectly alright to just cover that quite quickly and maybe get into detail on what precisely you did and focus the second minute on your results. I will point out, and I'm sure you can see it, I do like big pictures, I do like big text. I'm always worried when I go into a new room or go to a conference that the projector will project too small, or the people in the back of the room won't be able to see. So I'm very conscious of that I want everybody to have the experience. So I like the idea of having big text and big pictures. I think it's more effective in terms of communication as well. Alright, so let's move on to the second half of the talk. So in this research, I had 108 first-year students, and I want to move their aim up to aim for a high result as opposed to aiming just to pass. So I want to use behavioural economics, and I used 3 techniques help me in that. The first technique was to change the look of their assignments so that it looks like an exam paper. So instead of saying examination, it says assignment. Instead of saying the exam date, it's the due date of the assignment. and it says answer all questions. And I've formatted the assignment questions so that they look like exam papers. Because it looks like an exam paper, students suddenly start behaving much more seriously than they would if they had the typical assignment format. Number two, because I deliberately left some of the assignment elements ambiguous so that they would take things in their own direction, a lot of students emailed me questions, so I created a frequently asked questions list, and everybody who emailed me, who I answered, I added their question and answer to the FAQ, so everybody was on a level playing field. And people felt that there was a community involved in it, and they were seeing that grow. We could do this on a threaded discussion board or something like that as well. And number three, I didn't have a due date for this assignment, but what I did have on my site is the number of students who have submitted. So that counter counted up, and as the counter went up, more and more students felt, oh gosh, everybody else is doing it, so I better do it as well. So maybe the herd mentality encouraged them to complete. So this is the results I got, a significant improvement. In fact, the dropout rate reduced by 80%. Again, we're seeing that 80%, that Pareto effect. So if anybody has any questions, here's my contact details. Alright, so that's the second bit of the presentation. I suppose, just to say, and again, I know you guys are going to have 2 slides, so I think slide number 1 is what you did, but slide number 2 has to be the results. There are a lot of ways I could have presented this information. I could have done a chi-squared analysis. I could have done interpolation or regression. I could have shown all kinds of crazy graphs. What I decided to stick was with a simple bar chart, pseudo 3D bar chart, showing the average or arithmetic mean or particular results for 2014 and 2015, because that's nice and clean and simple. The message has been communicated effectively. 2015 is bigger than 2014, so it's clear what's going on here. I definitely think we should ban tables of figures, tables of numbers on PowerPoint slides, because I'm not sure that that's effective. Maybe have them as handouts, but there's certainly no point in a quick session. We've got 2 minutes, so we need to convey. What can you see here? You can see, yes, 2015 is better. Nice, clean, simple graphics. So go for simple more than anything else. And the repeated theme of the 80% as well is nice. So it links part 1 and part 2 together. And then definitely, I think, make sure people can get in touch if they have suggestions with you. Alright, I hope this has been helpful, so thanks very much. Have a nice day. Good luck with your Gastas.